For me, I now know anything is possible if I am willing to put myself in a vulnerable position of saying, I don't know. That's the most powerful thing you could ever say. I don't know, who knows, and find them and put this team together. And so nothing is impossible anymore.
And we're back
with another episode of He Said, She Said.
And this is the episode where I say, holy freaking crap, Lori, congratulations to you. I'm so proud of you. The finish line for the release of your new business is finally here. How do you feel?
Like, I've been picturing this for so long that of course it happened, but also, oh my God. Like, I definitely had days where it actually reminded me of my book as well, where I'd stare at a bookshelf and like I stare right now, like at the counter going, is this product ever going to be out in the world? Like, is this ever going to happen? And I've spent the last year, or if we really count from the beginning of this journey, 2.5 to 3 years from the initial raise, like not wondering, but like when is this coming out? So I feel relieved. I feel excited. I've had the biggest emotional journey of my entire life for sure throughout this. And that is the biggest thing for people to realize, is that when they sign up to be in business or an entrepreneur, you are signing up for the largest personal development course that is never ending that you will ever experience.
God, isn't that the truth? Well, we're going to unpack all that so we can like give some inspiration and give some, let's say, some tailwinds to anybody who's like going through the muck of it in their journey and who wants to see like their finish line as they're crossing it. It's so funny. Is it a finish line or a starting line? Because it's finally the starting line when you launch, but it's kind of the finish line if you look at the crazy journey you've taken to get to this point.
I'm going to take a minute to let it be the finish line.
Yeah.
And then just be really, really present and grateful for what is happening during the launch and not to get overwhelmed by it.
I love it. I literally can't wait until it's in people's hands and they're like using it and tasting it and seeing their skin better. I mean, if you guys have been living under a rock, she pivoted to a powdered drink, right? Like a Liquid IV or any of those other brands, except it is a skin routine you can drink. So while you're getting hydrated, why not have better skin, nails, all that stuff?
It's a skin and gut superfood. So we really wanted to not only go after hydration, but we were like, what do I want? What do women want? Like, what do we actually want to feel better and we want to look better? So what if we did superfood ingredients for skin and gut that really went after the skin for skin tone, for glowing, for radiance? What if we could find ingredients that could target some fine lines and texture? And so we went down that rabbit hole of working to create something that really focused on your skin, but also the really cool side effects of the ingredients that we chose for skin also just happened to be huge for overall wellness. So that was really cool. And obviously we know gut health is so huge and they're discovering more and more about why it's so important for so many things, but also how linked it is to your skin because it is the biggest organ.
And so all of this kind of disguised in tasty lemon water, right? You tear it open and pour it in your water. It's lemon water. Anyhow, so we're going to unpack like what it felt like during the most stuck, darkest moments. But I know everyone's going to get samples at some of the dinner series dinners that we're throwing as gifts for coming. Like, I don't think people understand how awesome these dinners are going to be, and they're going to have gifts and all this other stuff, right? And glōci, your product is going to be some of the gifts at these things. So I can't wait for those people to actually taste it and experience it. And that's actually a good time to say thank you to all of you who joined, literally changing your network overnight with the dinner series. It was the most awesome, overwhelming, incredible response to that.
Everybody's wanting that right now.
Yep, everyone's wanting
Everyone is really aware that if you want to have more fun in your journey and I believe go faster, that you need to do it together.
Yeah,
it's a shortcut. Why would you sit at home without the answers when you can go in a room and literally bring every single question that you have and get an answer by the time that you leave in one day? Chris, you and I have been doing this forever. I don't sit in my pain anymore. I don't sit in I don't know how. I don't think I can do this. Like I share, hey, I feel doubtful about this and I have a question around this. And the people around you, just they fill you up and they get you to a place where your comeback rate of like what would have kept you down because you're alone and you're spiraling and you're telling yourself that old bullshit story that you always tell yourself, like that's not allowed in these rooms and it doesn't stick. So share where you're at, share your vulnerabilities, and then watch how the power of people pouring into you and giving you the answers makes your comeback rate and your bounce back rate so much faster.
Yeah, I love that. Listen, there's a couple spots at a couple of the tables left. If you guys want to come to our dinner series, it's 3 dinners throughout the year with intentional networking. Go real quick over to chrisharder.me/dinner and grab one of those last spots, for the first one coming up February 1st. Literally go to chrisharder.me/dinner. Okay. So I want to actually start where you just left off. You said the moments where you want to quit, the moments where you want to feel bad for yourself, the moments where you don't know where your next resource is going to come from. Those were all solved because of your network. Talk to me about one of the moments you felt the lowest. And just so people understand the timeline, like almost 3 years ago, Lori raised capital from 54 female investors to launch the alcohol company that was called Light Pink. It was alcohol and a non-alcoholic drink. And then, fast forward through 2 years of COVID and inflation and shipping problems and the candemic. Yes, there was a candemic where nobody could get cans. Like you name it. All of a sudden she woke up one day and her margins were gone. And she's like, something has to change. So in that journey, Lori, what was one of the lowest moments and how did your network kick you back in the game?
Well, I want to share that there was a podcast that went out on Monday as well that tells this entire journey, which would mean the world to me if you would go and listen, because I think it's going to give you so many more value than you can possibly imagine for where you're at in your journey. But one of the lowest, Chris, there were so many low moments.
Yeah, like how do you choose just one?
How do I pick?
How about one of the most recent ones?
Okay. Well, I think one of the most recent moments was obviously that point where I had the realization that I am going to have to pivot. And I think that was such a low moment because I felt like I disappointed everyone and that my idea was a failure and that I got everybody super excited and to invest into this vision and this idea. And I could see that this vision was no longer working. So I associated it, like most of us do, even if we've had all the personal development in the world, with my identity. So I took on, I failed. Like not I had a failure. It was I'm a failure. And no one's ever going to want to invest in me again. No one is ever going to want to be a part of what we're doing because I am a failure. And it also makes you feel like, oh my gosh, I got them all to believe in this idea and it's not working. Like there's a bit of like it's like this internal, what did I do? Like maybe nothing that I think and believe has ever been right. Like it makes you doubt who you are foundationally and all of your ideas. It makes you go back and go, did I just get lucky? Was this me or was this something else? And that's not a good place to be. So feeling like you're disappointing people to me was the biggest challenge because this wasn't just people. This wasn't like VC outside capital where you don't actually see the faces and know the faces. This is like my closest friends. This is mentors that I look up to. And I just felt like, oh my God, I just destroyed my future.
My perspective, because I was riding with you through this thing, watching you just be totally beat up and feel dejected and all that. My perspective was you were so afraid, and this is the punchline I want to twist too quick. You were so afraid to share the news with your investors that you were pivoting to a different product. And you were so afraid that they were going to say it's a dumb idea or a bad idea or I only like the past idea or whatever. You had all these stories built up. And when you told them, hey, investors, we're pivoting to a brand new product and here's what the vision is, what kind of response did you get? I think people need to hear this. It was an overwhelming positive response. So
paint this picture, like
overwhelming, the thing that you feared the most that kept you up at night.
I legitimately cried. Because it's so funny because in my gut, I knew this was a way more aligned product.
Yep.
A lot of my investors had quit drinking like during the pandemic. And they were like, hey, just so you know, like I still support you, but I'm not going to be supporting you like outwardly. And I was like, okay, well, that was the whole point that you came in was to be like a strategic partner to help share this idea. So I was like, man, this is not, it was just like one more reason that was piling up that the universe was showing me why this was not going to be the idea that was going to be the final idea. Yeah. But it was so powerful. I remember when the first like 3 or 4 emails came back after I hit send on that letter, they were like all positive. And I just cried. I was like, I can't believe that I let fear take over for so long, that, I let these stories control me. Where, yes, was I still taking action? Of course I was, but I was doing it with a lot of fear and anxiety.
Oh yeah, you'd be up every single night. You'd wake up somewhere in the middle of the night and wake me up and be like, "Hey,
for a solid year."
Yep, for a solid year.
It was, and I couldn't see my way out of that, and it was making me ill, and there was no joy left in life. I couldn't understand how I was ever going to find joy again, because I just had this cloud of fear every single day of my life. I stopped focusing on what was good. I had a great life.
Yep.
Which can also, this is hard for entrepreneurs. And I hope that somebody is like who needs to hear this is listening, that I had a great life. I had a great relationship. Like, you can feel even worse because you feel guilty that you're feeling so low within a great life.
Oh, interesting.
And that just compiled to the anxiety and depression that I was feeling, and fear, because I felt worse for feeling bad.
Is compiled a combination of compounded and piled up?
Compiled. Compiled is a word.
I know it is not. It was just sounded funny the way that you said it. So I want you guys to really scoop a couple of these lessons before we move on right here.
Hey y'all, if you didn't know, Earn Your Happy is now a part of the Growth Day Podcast Network. This is so exciting to me because I have been looking for a really good home for the show for, I can't even tell you, years, literally. And now I've finally been able to come together and collaborate with other people who have incredible shows, and I want to share them with you. One of the shows is Motivation with Brendon Burchard. And you guys, if you don't know about the beginning of my career, I literally started with Brendon Burchard's work. It's how I launched one of my very first online courses and membership sites, was because he gives so much advice that you can integrate and implement immediately. And that's what you're going to get on the show. Not just motivation, but you're going to learn exactly how to get your stuff out in the world. And not just that, but Brendon runs in the most incredible group of humans who are really doing the thing out in the world that you want to be doing. So go check it out. Go subscribe to Motivation with Brendon Burchard. I promise you, this is going to be one of those shows that no matter when you tune in, you're going to get value. Like, it's not one of those that you're like, God, I listened for 30 minutes and I didn't get what I wanted. Like, from the beginning, you're going to get something that changes your life or changes your business. So go check it out. Motivation with Brendon Burchard. I know you're going to love it. I'm obsessed.
Number one, the message that she was most afraid of sharing, that she was going to have to pivot and that she thought made her a failure, got an overwhelmingly better response. I remember the responses coming in. It was, oh my God, this is a better idea. Oh my God, this is something I can share every day. Oh my God, I'm so proud of you. I wasn't drinking anymore anyways. Oh my God.
This is something they wanted.
Yes. Yes.
They're like, this is
oh my God,
something
this
I
is
want.
more
I'm
aligned
traveling
with all of our
time.
networks, right? Oh my God, this makes more sense to go direct to consumer. Like, all of the responses from these people that you looked up to, that you said, hey, strategic investor, I know you have skin in the game. I'm so afraid to tell you this, that kept you up at night, ended up being the best thing you could have shared with them. So I hope that those who are listening, you're kept up at night about some kind of fear that you're making up in your head, it's probably going to turn out way better than you think it is. So you got to tear off that Band-Aid and spread the message.
The other thing I want to say is, like, did that all turn out wonderfully? No, it didn't. I had 3 that I had to have conversations with that were some of the hardest conversations of my life. But because I knew that 99% were overwhelmingly happy about it, it was that moment where I could decide to be upset that they felt that way. Or I could say, I could stand in their shoes and go, yes, I understand how they could maybe feel potentially that this is maybe not the product that they are as excited about. But it is my job to go and remind them that it's the same message that they invested in, because that's why so many people invested, was because it's a full female funded roster. And it's also showing women that they can do anything by being a part of this company, and that we can invest in each other's dreams. And it's a vehicle to also connect over. And that was the main reason that they were investing in Light Pink. So I want to say, like, is your worst case scenario probably going to happen in a very small way? Potentially. But once that happened to me, I have to tell you, I'm so grateful that it did because it doesn't control me anymore.
Yep.
Because I got through it. I faced it. I had the conversations. I realized by talking to you, actually, Chris, that it was my job to go and get them re-excited about the new vision as the founder, as the CEO. It is now my job to go reignite them and tell them why this is better and get them excited again. And so instead of taking the stance of like, I'm upset. Why are they acting this way? I need allies right now. It was, no, of course they could feel this way. They have a valid right to feel this way, but it is now my job to get them re-excited. And now worst case scenario in all of my fear around that happening does not control me because I know that I can get through it. And I know that I have the people who I can have the conversations with to do that with.
So I want to switch modes now. If that was the trough, the lowest moment, now you've been on the up and up again, right? Like climbing back out of the pit and heading towards launch and heading towards like this really exciting moment. And to do that, you had to go assemble a new, let's call it roster of helpers, people that you'd pull in to be an expert in hydration, an expert in skin and hair, an expert in all these other things. You've got doctors, you've got all these people involved. Talk to me about what it was like to say, okay, I'm going a new direction. So I need new experts. And they came out of your network. How did you find them? How did you approach them?
Yeah, look, the weirdest thing is that they're always there.
Yeah.
And it's like asking you right now, how many black Range Rovers do you think you see in a day? And you're like, I don't know, maybe one. But when you actually open your eyes, there's 30 of them or there's 60.
When you're focused on seeing them, they show up everywhere.
They absolutely show up. But if you're not focused, you don't see it there. So the second that I started putting my focus there, they're freaking everywhere. And so I just started, like literally yesterday, I had another one that I would love to bring on. And I thought, oh my gosh, this woman has been in my network. I'm going to text her and say, hey, does this sound interesting to you? I just let her know what some of the things are that I was looking for help with within this company. And sure enough, absolutely, let's start a conversation. And that is, once you get the idea, it's like when you need the teacher, when you start thinking about it, when you put that out into your intentions, into your network, write it in your journal daily, they appear. They're already there or one person removed. And so one of the big things is that I met this other doctor through somebody who was already in my network, but I just started asking. That's all you do. I think we're always only one person removed from the answer that we need.
Yep.
And everything is opened up. I'm not even kidding you. It is always in your network. And that's why I also think, not, shameless plug, but the dinner series is so vital because I know that if you go into that room with your questions, you're going to get the answers.
This is actually the answer that I wanted you to give is exactly what you're saying is most of what you guys need, you guys being the listeners right now, it's already there. It's already hopefully in your network. It's already an introduction from somebody that you might already know, but you're not asking for help. You're not telling the world what you need. Lori, when she pivoted, said, all right, world, I need hydration experts. I need a formulation expert. I needed to find co-packers in this space. I need to find some doctors to be on board and test what we're saying. I need to find an FDA expert. I need to find all these experts. Who in my network knows these people? And I remember you posted to your Instagram, hey, who knows a doctor in this? Who knows of this? I know that you just start asking our friends, hey, do you know anyone that knows somebody like this? Do you know? And they showed up left and right because you actually started verbalizing what you needed. And this is such a simple to do, yet not always easy to do thing. And that is verbalize what you need, not once, but often and loudly.
It's so funny to me to look back and say, and not funny because this was me. And this is so many people. This is majority of the podcast listeners. They are limiting their potential and what they think is possible for them and what they think they're capable of doing. So like right now, starting a company or being a CEO or founder, to so many people listening, they're like, no way, I don't have that skill set. It's not a skill set of knowing how to do those things. It's a skill set of knowing how to find the people who know how to do the things. And so for me, I now know anything is possible if I am willing to put myself in a vulnerable position of saying, I don't know. That's the most powerful thing you could ever say. I don't know, who knows, and find them and put this team together. And so nothing is impossible anymore. And that's the message that I want to share with this is I'm not going, I know how to formulate. I wasn't going, oh, I know all about supply chain and warehouses and co-packing. And I know
nothing about that.
Absolutely nothing. And I was willing to stumble my way through and constantly say, could you explain that? Or when people would explain, they explain with words that I don't know. I'd say, I actually don't know what those past 4 words meant. Could you back up and explain that again?
Great example for bringing that up. There's too many people. And I was on a coaching call yesterday with one of my elite mastermind members yesterday. And they're like, well, I don't want to come off as dumb. What should I do or say back to this person? I said, tell them that you don't know. Tell them you're an expertise in your area of expertise. And you're not an expert in this other area that they're asking you about this really cool potential opportunity. So say, talk to me like I'm a 4th grader because I don't want to miss this opportunity.
And I'll tell you what people don't want to hear when you're working with people and hiring people is like getting on a team meeting and being like the know-it-all, and you hired them for that particular expertise that you're pretending to know more about that you actually don't.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a team, people want to know that they're the genius in that arena and that you're a genius in another complementary area. Yeah. And so on a lot of my team calls, it's like, hey guys, you guys remember that my zone of genius is like getting the eyeballs, getting the word out, getting the marketing. So here's where I need you to be and to focus. I don't want another version of me in my company when I've got that handled. I want to get into my zone of genius as fast as possible. And I want them to play full out in their zone of genius.
God, that's so good. Okay, guys. Well, if you're listening to this right now, that means glōci is available for pre-order. Where do they get it?
Oh my gosh, you guys, glōci is available for pre-sale right now at one of the lowest prices you can ever get it. And that is because I want to reward our podcast listeners, our email list, and our text list for being super loyal, always the most supportive people, always the first to jump out of their seat and say, how can I help? What can I do?
I support
and I'm
you.
so grateful for that. So we're giving you the deepest discount that we will probably ever do. And that is at getglōci.com. And that's for rewarding the listeners and the people who are going to show up first. And it is a limited run. We are doing that intentionally right now because we want this first group of people to be the people who give us feedback, who tell us like, hey, I love this about it. This is where maybe I could see an improvement or whatever. Like, I want to know all of it so that we can make this the perfect product for you guys. And that is really our hope for this first run, but it will sell out intentionally because we want to move forward with this first group and then take all of that data and feedback to get that second run right away.
Yeah. Take it from good to great.
Yeah.
Dial in perfection. I love that. So,
and I will say this product is meant to start seeing results after, the 90-day period. So subscription is the lowest cost you will get. And it is the best thing that you can do. You're going to feel results right away, but for best results, you're going to start to see improvement over that 90 days.
Yeah. I mean, common sense. You're not going to see your skin routine in a day change. You're not going to see it in a week change, but over time, freaking absolutely. Absolutely. So spell it for one more time. Getglōci.com. Spell
it's G-E-T, just get, and then glōci, G-L-O-C-I. So getglōci.com. And it is in the show notes below.
I love it. Well, a huge congratulations to you, babe. I mean, the number of nights that you have been up worrying, the number of tough conversations you've had, the number of asking for help moments that you've had. It's been remarkable to watch you trudge through this really difficult journey and all of a sudden come out the other end here with nothing but daylight ahead of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. And I love you more than anything.
You.
I love it. All right, guys. Seriously, support Lori. Go to getglōci.com. You're one of the first people to ever get it. And it just, as always, like Lori said, I want to echo this. Thank you for always listening, for always sharing these episodes, and for always just being such a supportive community. It means the world to have you guys.
Just one last thing I want to say is that we're going to have one of the best affiliate ambassador programs you can imagine for women. You guys, it is going to be such a blast. I'm going to be incentivizing with trips and get-togethers with incredible women. So if you've got big dreams, this is absolutely what you want to be doing. And it's important that obviously you've tried the product and you know you love the product. So if you want to be an ambassador or affiliate, grab the product. And then we're going to be launching that program in the new year.
Ooh, they're going to have good skin, good guts, and good bank accounts. I love it. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We love and appreciate you.
See you next time.
Hey,
thanks for listening to the podcast. And I want to make sure that you have my phone number, and I'm not kidding. Did you know that I have a community text number? For real. My phone number is 310-496-8363. This goes directly to my phone. All you have to do is text the word daily to 310-496-8363. And I literally text you every single day, Monday through Friday. I actually just got done 30 seconds ago texting a bunch of people back, and I talk to you all of the time. You guys, people always ask me how I got my community text number and how it works. Well, all you have to do is you can just go to community.com and get your own. Community makes it easy to get a phone number that you can use to build your audience using text. People just text you at your number and they're added to your group. Then you can text them out audios, video links, anything you want. You guys, I text out happy birthday videos. I love to send podcast links, thoughts about life, book recommendations, different events that I'm doing in the local area. Texting gets me out of the noise of social media and directly into your hand. And now you can start texting your people too. Just go to community.com to get your phone number. They give you a 10-digit real phone number, not those weird short codes that look like spam, but it's more than a phone number. Your new number comes with an inbox for SMS and texting. This means you can actually manage your text list from your computer and an app on your phone. You can schedule text to send at certain times and to certain groups. You can even set up auto replies or let your assistant or customer service team answer your text messages via Community's awesome dashboard. Just go to community.com and ask for a free demo. They'll show you how it works and get you your number. It's time to start texting your audience versus just posting on social media. Everyone uses Community for that. So go check them out at community.com. I can tell you it's not just great for communicating with my audience, but Chris and I use Community and our texts to also sell out our launches. I'm telling you, you get such an incredible response because you really are creating a true, deep sense of community. And it's so intimate. It's freaking amazing. Go check it out at community.com. Hey, I know if you're listening to this podcast that you have big dreams and big goals. And one of the things that can really stop you is struggling with your marketing. Trust me, I have been there. Are you using 10 different systems just to build your online business? Then I want you to try Kajabi. Kajabi helps you build your web pages, set up funnels, and sell your courses, content, coaching, or communities. You've been hearing me talk a lot about funnels on this podcast and the importance of your email list. You can get a free trial at kajabi.com. That's Kajabi.com. I've talked about Kajabi before, but here's something that's super cool and new. They just rolled out an AI assistant for creating your online course curriculum. And this means you just type in a topic that you want to create on a course or webinar and bam, it just generates a sample outline for you. It takes a ton of the hard work away. Of course, you're going to customize it to be your own, but this really helps you get over the struggle of how in the world to start, which is where most people stop. If you're like me, starting is always the hardest part, and that's what makes Kajabi so popular. They've made it easier for creators to build web pages, build courses, build coaching programs, build membership sites, build checkout pages, and build email funnels. So if you're struggling with any of those, you got to go check it out. Go to kajabi.com. Kajabi was really the first all-in-one system and is trusted by over 100,000 creators. I think that's good enough for me. Also has influencers and marketers who use this. And now their smart AI platform makes it easy to take what you know and turn it into an online course and business. Go start building with a free trial at kajabi.com. That's Kajabi.com.